my music is playing. Hey, we got a bunch of people on, Johnny Cupcakes, Campbell.
Good stuff.
Hey, anyway, people, welcome to the Room Podcast. Johnny, that is your camera right there. Johnny Campbell in the house, in the Room Podcast, joining me live, 6 feet away.
Yeah,
6 feet of separation here, I think. Actually, 4.5.
Something
like that.
Whatever. I think we're good. These walls look pretty antibacterial.
Let me make sure we have sound over there, Johnny. Yeah, we sound good. We're contact. So before we came on, I was telling Johnny that I'm rearranging the room. I got a new computer. I got a new bunch of everything. But I haven't put stuff on the walls. But Johnny, you've never been here. You've interviewed over Skype, call-ins. What do you think about actually sitting here in the room?
It's like a dream come true. I feel like I'm on Joe Rogan's podcast or something right now. It's amazing.
No way!
Oh,
really?
Definitely. This is definitely like early JRE for sure.
It is pretty cool. Sure. Now the thing about here, it's not a big room, but it's utilized in a pretty good way.
Yep.
Eventually, the room across the hall, which is twice as big as this, has its own bathroom and it actually has like a window in it.
Okay.
Is going to come available. The owner told me already. It's a little more money, but it's another site. So what I'm going to do there is put mats down, a heavy bag.
Oh.
And when fighters, maybe a teammates and like yourself, or when you come in, show me a technique or show something.
That's cool.
Boom! There's Johnny Cupcakes right there. Demonstrate how he did that spinning elbow or that ground and pound.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? So
I love it. We should put a green screen up so we can
exactly. We'll evolve.
That'd be amazing.
With all that stuff.
We can do martial arts in like a volcano.
Excellent.
Or something.
Well, you can get a film crew in here.
Let's do it.
That's it. The world's shut down, John. We got to think out of
Seriously.
the box, man.
We got
so,
to.
Welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having this so I can be here doing this. This is fucking some cool stuff. I love it.
Who we got on here? A bunch of people. I trying to say hi to everyone. As long as we have sound. If there's any technical difficulties out there, let me know. We still have sound, which is
That's
good.
That's a good sign.
So
yes.
I have a new monitor over there that Johnny can actually see the show. And Johnny, is there comments on there or no comments?
All right. At the moment, I am not seeing any.
Well, you know what, John?
Comments.
I'm gonna get to my personal Facebook because I think you can see them there. So, John, tell the folks at home, Johnny, how you been coping with the quarantine from when it started, when the gyms closed, and your reaction when it happened. Like, my reaction was, is this real?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when Triforce, which is down the street, and all them fighters from there, when they said they were closing for 2 weeks,
yep,
that's when I went, wow. And then, other gyms were probably closing at the same time, but then they all started trickling down, Lozons, and then boom, 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 boom. What was your thoughts on that all happening?
I mean, this is just the craziest thing. I don't think I had any real thoughts. I just kind of went into going with the flow and doing kind of what had to be done, which is stay home. And I stayed super hydrated. I was drinking like close to 2 gallons of water at the peak of like the paranoia of people getting sick and whatnot. My grandmother, I'm in close proximity with her. She's older, in her 80s, so I was not trying to give her anything. Yeah. So it was it's a craziest time. I mean, the closest thing that you can get to like a zombie movie, I think, than we've ever been to that since I've been alive. This is just the craziest stuff, and I hope that we all, we're human beings. I think we're gonna definitely pull through it. It's just that it's more like the psychological implications at this point that I'm like not worried about, but that make me a little bit concerned. It's like, how do we just bounce back from something that has scared the entire population so badly? So it's going to be a super interesting time when we're looking back on it, grandkids and whatnot. It's going to be like the COVID time for sure.
Yeah.
And that's just wild. So I mean, I don't know. We've dealt with stuff like in that way, like 9/11 and tragedies and whatnot. But the way that this is so global, it's just bonkers.
It's like a buzzing feeling through your head, like
exactly.
Like you said, is it like
it's like different?
It's like Zombieland. Like, is this real? Like when it was first, like I've been working through it the whole time, and like a lot of essential workers.
Yep.
But driving down the roads and seeing traffic in the morning and nothing, not really any traffic, and knowing that, you know,
there's a reason.
People are home for a reason, and I'm on the fucking road. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But it was just bizarre to see, and the only thing I could think of, like, would bring to my mind, because my imagination would fly, and was I Am Legend, when fucking Will Smith is driving down friggin' what is it, New York, and things like it has it, but it was quiet, and that's what I was 100%. Thinking. I'm like, I didn't think a month later we'd still be in the same boat, and we are, and then we got fighters like you that gyms closed down, livelihoods closed down as far as you guys, your ways of life, you're out, the way you get your emotions out there is training, you know.
And 100%.
You know, before we talk about fighting and the fights that were canceled, how's that? And that feeling like
it's that kind of a strange thing. I feel like as any kind of artist probably would, like if a painter couldn't paint, he would like find a way to create colors and fucking paint somehow out of like something. And I feel like this has been sort of like that. It's like I'm stuck in a place where I can't really train, but like shadow boxing, watching tape, you know, like just whatever it is, you know, push-ups and whatnot, and you know, hanging on door frames or whatever, like whatever it is that people are out there doing is like their way of training, and I feel like I've been doing it myself as well. So I've just it almost feels like I haven't been away. In a fashion, I've almost been more involved in martial arts since this all started. It's kind of weird, like when you're training constantly. I mean, I'm 33 and I've had 33 pro fights, so I've had a lot of pro fights in a fairly short amount of time, and there are times where even the most like joyous thing that you do is still tedious and feels like a job, or it feels like if you're plateauing or going backwards, maybe it can be difficult on you, and training can be difficult, and at times you don't. Nick Diaz, idiotically I think, but in a way so honestly said, like, he's got to love it so much that he hates it kind of deal. And it's like I almost know that feeling, because sometimes I don't want to train, but now where I have nothing but time, it's like all I can fucking think about is martial arts and training, and like such little details that I think I wasn't like putting together when I was training, because I was maybe almost too much in that grind mode that I couldn't like think outside the box almost. Things just kind of like clicked a little bit, certain things. And since like training a little bit more, I have like been getting together with some guys again lately, and I mean I just feel so good at this thing that is fighting, that I just like, man, I just cannot wait to get in that cage and do it again as soon as possible, because it's just so fun and I am hella good at it.
Well, here's the thing, like you talked about, you know, positive things that are happening while you're on, you know, this lockdown.
Yeah.
You had a little injury coming up to this, like you were scheduled to fight for Bellator. I don't remember your post exactly when you posted it, but it wasn't too long before the fights, you know what I mean, the fights were canceled. But you've had a chance to heal.
Exactly.
And the world hasn't really changed or going on without you fighting. Yep. Like, was that in your mind? Like, when you got hurt, you had that big opportunity. You've been on a tear, and we'll talk about that also. But you had your opportunity to fight for Bellator, and you had a little injury, and you had to go out because you weren't going to give you 100%. And you can't ruin an opportunity on a fight winning streak like that and go in half-ass. You know what I mean? What was that feeling like to not be able to fight? And then the feeling about when, not to laugh about, the card got canceled. So it was kind of like nobody kind of made ground. Yep. And everyone's kind of in the spot. So what was your thoughts on that?
So I was very much psychologically beaten down at that point when I finally pulled out. Between like diet and training, and I mean I had so many fight camps in a row, and I was just not in a good place, like right when I pulled out, so like hating myself really, and for having to do that, to have to pull out of this fight that I fucking wanted so badly, and and then to find out that it got canceled. It was not really like there was no, I didn't take any like positive from it necessarily, but it was almost like a little bit of a like oh thank God, like wiping my brow, like whew, I dodged a bullet. Like had I missed the opportunity and everyone fought and everyone progressed, I would have felt somewhat of regret no matter what. Like I got two hands and I feel like both of them can knock that guy out, Leandro. So it's like, did I need, my neck to fucking do that? And I'm almost glad in a way, not for the fighters. I like who was on that, Nick Newell maybe. It's like, dude, that sucks,
Pat McCronin was on there.
Man,
I think
like
Jesse Mealy might. There was a whole shitload of you,
and for those
big
guys
big
to
fighters
to cut weight. Get there, and then they're just like, we'll fight tomorrow. No crowd. And then tomorrow comes, and they're like, you guys have breakfast yet? Guess what? Fight's canceled.
God. And then,
later. That's just crazy. I'm just so glad I wasn't a part of that. But at the same time, everything happens for a reason. So as tragic as COVID has been, I think that the pause was a necessary thing for myself, definitely. And I'd say probably almost everybody else on the planet. It's just, as with everything else, you can take two perspectives on life. Typically, it's pretty black and white. You're either looking at things positively or you're looking at them negatively. And if you're looking at the future as like, oh, we're all doomed, this COVID thing has fucked us, then like, so that's the way it's going to be. Henry Ford said that, whether you were right or wrong or whatever, you knew it, and I just feel like that's what we have right now, is an opportunity to either look towards the light or look towards the darkness. So I think COVID for me right now was a plus almost in some way.
For a lot of people, it was in some way, like
I needed it.
And like like a lot of fighters, a lot of fighters are struggling. Yeah. A lot of fighters are gym owners, trainers. Their only job, like yourself, is in there. As far as getting back into the training, what the training that you're getting in now, you're getting together with some guys and stuff. If there was like, how long would it take you to get ready for a fight? If you heard something was coming down the line, like we have fights announced, like I think Neff is September. There's other cards I think they're saying July, but they're throwing that out there. We don't know.
I know, right?
But when do you think you could get ready for a card and be, back to fairly normal to be able to compete?
I mean, honestly, pretty damn fast. I feel
right.
I guess who are we fighting is like the first one. That would be like my main question. Who am I fighting? Because the weight would be so incredibly important. So at 35, I could be I could be ready in less than a month. I think maybe 3 weeks. I could make 135 and be ready to go. And I would fight any single human being at that weight at 135, and that's all I would need. I would fight pretty much anybody given the opportunity at 145 right now, just jumping in, just because I have so much trust in my two hands, basically. If I lay hands on someone's face, there's a very good statistical chance that they're not going to get out of that cage with a W, and I would just... so maybe less than a month, 3 weeks, and I'd be ready to make weight for, say, the UFC or whatever,
Well,
amazing. Let's
get to them. How uplifting was it for them to come out and be able to... We're going to have a third card in a row tomorrow. You know what I mean? What's it been, a week in 7 days?
Yep.
What was your reaction when you heard, like, it's actually going to happen? And I didn't believe it until... it actually happened.
Seriously. Well, because, Dana's talking about, like, oh, we're going to move forward whenever it was, like, maybe a month ago. And he's like, as long as the powers that be, so to speak, let us move forward, we're going to have this card. I don't know if that was Fight Island or California. Maybe he was going to have a show. And ESPN, I understand, was like, nah, you can't do that. And that was, like, a week before the event.
Yeah.
So I was pretty sure, like, he's just very optimistic, Dana White. But that dude just believes in himself, and he made things happen. And some of the best fights maybe that we've ever freaking seen. It's just like
fucking guys' calves shins getting sliced open, and
yep, amazing.
The Tony Ferguson fight. It's for that to be the first card to come back to watch with Jorgen De Castro on there, with Calvin on there.
Studs.
3 of our
studs
representing. Taking huge chances.
Yeah.
And them dudes, I do believe Jorgen and Calvin they went through basically three training camps, or almost three,
they-
almost cards to fight on.
Yep.
Before this fight, Jorgen,
no joke.
rev it up, rev it down. I'm sure he was revving all the way through.
Yeah, but
I mean, that happening.
6 months.
I mean, he was injured, got injured in that fight.
I
I mean,
know.
all that up and down. I mean, that could have happened, but that's the chance you take.
Yeah, you gotta just
You can't
get in there. And give it your best.
Exactly.
And he's an animal, so I'm looking forward to watching him throw down again as soon as possible. And Calvin is just, that dude is such an animal.
Where was he
I mean,
now?
dude, that freaking elbow and just everything before it that set it up. I mean, freaking Steven's eyes were closed. He didn't know what the hell was coming. He was thinking left, and Calvin went right, and that was it. That's all he needed. Unbelievable. That dude's legit. I can't wait to watch his next fight. I mean, he's going to be probably top 5, I would think.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think he was ranked 9th when he went into that fight, and to impressively take out Stevens like that.
That might be title contention, maybe.
So, well, let's get to you, brother. It's been, you've been on a tear. Yes. And we talked about it before coming on here. I think June will be a year since you started your winning streak and your tear on the circuit back.
Yes.
I mean, you had 3 losses, but 2 of them were close fights that were argument. One I think it was Johnny Lopez. It was a close fight when a catchweight fight. You short notice.
31. I know 131.
And then the Dan Dubuque fight.
I know.
Which I don't want to stir anyone up there. We know how that fight is fucking
draw at the draw. At the very least, I think.
And then what was the other one in there?
I think was it Perrin before that?
The Perrin, the title fight.
Yeah.
So you had 2 close fights, and then
5 rounds.
And then you fight Jose Lugo at Reality.
Yep. Same thing. 2 weeks notice again, like Lopez. Reality has a habit of doing that. Being like, hey, we need a main event.
Come on in.
Can anyone do that for us? And it's like, yep, absolutely. So, same deal. Lugo, I mean, that kid's a scrapper, super, super tough gentleman, and great hands, solid jiu-jitsu, but he's just a 125er, so I knew if I could get down to weight that I would most likely win, and I did, and it just was just like something in the making, basically. And he just happened to be the guy who signed the dotted line on that day, and it's been up since then. And it's just been learning. Some people learned by doing jiu-jitsu tournaments, or smokers and boxing matches, or whatever it is. And I just jumped the fuck into MMA right off the bat, and just started fighting, and got to a place where I was not good enough to fight the guys I was fighting, and I took some losses, then got back on a winning streak, and then it was more like I was just a stupid fighter for a little while, and fighting injured after Matt Doherty threw me on the ground and I dislocated my shoulder. I just could not throw my hands like I needed to for way too fucking long. I mean, you can watch fights of mine that I literally throw no punches in fights, because I'm so sure that when I throw my right, it's gonna just fall off of my body.
You'd be hanging there
dude, it was crazy. It got to the point where I just knew, when it fell out in training, okay, I just need to do this particular motion, and bang,
it's right back.
And and then I got fortunate where in certain fights I didn't. It stayed in place, thank goodness. I remember a fight when I was fighting down Foxwoods against a badass Matt Lozano, who I thought was a jiu-jitsu guy. Turns out he's a tremendous boxer. Fucking beats me up a little bit on the feet. And I remember at one point in the second round, I threw an overhand right as hard as I fucking could. Missed him completely. But I remember thinking oh fuck, don't do that.
Yeah.
You might fucking lose your arm. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
So, right around Dan Dubuque, it was hey, my shoulder is good and I can throw my hands. Why haven't I been doing that? And since then, I cracked Lugo, took him down and subbed him. Chris Motino, I beat him faster than what's his face in the UFC now. He's in the UFC right now. Who beat Motino for the CES title?
Tony Gravely.
I think it took him 4 rounds to beat Motino. I beat him in 2. And then next one, freaking Bruno. He was an animal, and I heard him on the feet, knocked him down I think twice before I TKO'd him on the ground. And then Jeff Perez, who's just the strongest human being I've ever fought.
Who smells very good.
Yeah, it smells like rich mahogany. Seriously. And he, I don't think that there's another man at that weight that can be fucking as strong as that guy, And I weather his early wrestling pressure and then beat him in the third when he's wilting, and it's like, it's just all according to
stop
plan.
right there, John.
Yes,
because I just happened to have that third round.
It's good.
Locked and loaded. So what you might see over there is on a delay. So you know what? Let me turn this monitor towards you because we don't need sound. So let me get this so we can both see it. I don't really need it. Can you see that?
Oh, fabulous.
All right. So here we go. Let me put it on so folks at home can see. So you'll see it in real time here. So where are we? Johnny's fight ending. Let me see if this works. Well, there it is, Johnny. So Johnny, this is the third round, and
very good.
In the judges' eyes, I would imagine you were down. Were you thinking you were that second round? You had some connections in there, and you were hitting him pretty good, but he managed to get you back down. What were you thinking going into this round, third round, and what are they telling you in right here?
This is they literally are saying this is your career and that you need to go out and finish the fight, because I mean, even if I had beat Jeff up for 2 rounds, which I didn't, they would have said the same thing, to be honest, because I just have a way of losing decisions that's kind of unfortunate. So yeah, Bill was just like, you got to go out and finish him, and I felt extremely comfortable just going out and being willing to exchange with him. He's super tough and he did hit hard, but there was just something about the way the fight was going at that point that I knew that I could just stand there and try to knock him out, and I'd be okay as far as counters. I knew he could try to take me down, but I was willing to kind of do the deal with that.
So here we go.
I mean, right out of the gate, I start throwing my right like pretty much as hard as I fucking can. 2, 3.
And he wants no part of that. He's circling out.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a right behind the ear, right hand hard. I mean, he has a thick skull, that man. I could hit him as hard as I can, and he could take damage. Left hand landed there, kind of a weird angle, but there's a right hand that hurt him for sure. And he just, like, this was the first time I really defended his takedown because he was so strong, but right there he just did not feel strong anymore. He was definitely, I mean, it was a progressive thing where I kind of like put money in the bank throughout the fight, and then this is kind of where it paid off. I wish the ref gave us like 30 seconds, to be honest, but I just don't know if he would have mounted much.
You know what? That almost looks like the Dominic Cruz kind of finish. You know what I mean?
Like he's kind of getting up, but he's taking like 20 punches doing so, and it's a super subjective call. Great fight, Johnny. I mean, and like you said, going into that third round, and watching Jeff in that third round, I think he probably thought he was up 2 rounds. He said in the
I'm not getting in a dogfight with Johnny. Let me circle out. Let me try to get that takedown and secure this win.
Definitely.
And
he told me he thought it was going to go to decision at the end.
Yeah.
He was in the back room. He's like, man, I could have sworn that was going to go to decision. And that's where Jeff and I differ as fighters. Jeff was in it to go to decision, and I was just not in it to win rounds. I wasn't really there to win rounds. That's why, like in the first round and even most of the second, he keeps me on the ground relatively easily. I mean, I was not necessarily just laying there like a dead fish, but I mean, I wasn't giving it my all to get up because I didn't want to burn out any energy. I knew that I might only need 38 seconds to win. I mean, I said my hands are just dangerous. I don't know if it's timing or whatever it is, the way that I torque my body. If I hit people, they feel it pretty badly, and I am supremely confident in that. So I knew I don't need to win rounds. I'm gonna just win what I can win, and I might get him out of there with that. And that's what happened. I'm an opportunist. If you watch my finishes, there are in some of my fights, when I go at guys, I swarm them, and that's what I was doing. It's a repetitive thing that it's like if he takes a second to readjust, he's gonna take punches to the face. There's so many coming in, like it's tough for guys to kind of to come back when they're just getting throttled like that. So that's just I took advantage, and I mean he's a bad man, you know. He's dude, he's so strong. I can't describe to you how strong that guy is. I really feel like I could get in there with absolutely anybody right now, because I've been in with him as far as his strength. Yeah. There is not a man at 35 that's gonna hang with his raw strength. So
well, you've been in there with a lot of different styles that you finished. I mean, Chris Mutino comes right at you. He's trying to knock you the fuck out.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yep.
Then you got Bruno, who's a grappling
wizard.
Phenom.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then you got Perez, who's the wrestler.
Yep.
Also has some good Muay Thai.
Great boxing and Muay Thai.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
and
what's going?
He's a brown belt.
Of course, you're fucking confident. I mean, where you're finishing, studs. Johnny, I got to give ourselves a shout out. New England MMA has got this fighter ranking come out in June. It's everybody, Johnny.
Yes,
where are you sitting in these rankings? Where do you believe you sit? I mean, there's other 135 pounders out there.
Yep.
But where does Johnny think he sits in the division in New England right now?
I think I'm at the very top, to be totally honest. I think that we have probably one of the deepest pools in maybe the country. I mean, going out to Vegas to train with some of these guys, it's like there's not a very active MMA scene in a lot of places that you might think that there is. Like Vegas, they have like almost no like cage titans. So the fact that we have so many fighters here with so many outlets to get in the cage, it's like a blessing. And I think there's some incredible athletes, but yeah, I think that, dude, I'm watching Cruz and frickin' Cejudo, and I know it's like, oh yeah, you're just saying this, but dude, I fucking would be in that fight with those guys. And it's like, if I were 5-2 or like 6-1, and I'm saying that, maybe I'm being a little bit like over confident. But I've had 33 fucking pro fights. I have 20 professional wins, and I've finished like 2/3 of them or something. I mean, I went to decision for a while there, but like I have finished a majority of my fights, and I fought some of the best guys around. Some of my losses made me who I am. It's like I wouldn't give up one loss to gain any wins at all. So I really, really confidently think that I could beat the fuck out of absolutely anybody. I mean, I tried to pick fights with Mitch Raposa. I just recently called out Dennis, who I love.
Dennis Paiva.
And I think they're
awesome.
both great guys. It's just like, this is kind of dog-eat-dog right now, and we do have a wicked deep area. So I would go toe-to-toe with anybody in this area.
So, all right. So the UFC is back rolling. The Contender Series supposedly in the summer.
The Ultimate Fighter they're even talking about.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. And it's going to happen. I mean, the Contender Series is done with basically not many people there. So they just cut out the crowd, family, friends.
Yeah, right.
And just have trainers and, the necessary crew. That can happen. That's a definite reality. The show, almost the same thing. They're all locked in. They're not together. But
definitely.
Those two could come calling for you because the way you're talking, you could be ready very soon.
3 weeks.
I mean, does it entice you? I mean, you want to make the UFC, you want to get in there, but do you want to be the king in New England before you leave? I mean, I know you had that fight in Bellator. It was a great opportunity to fight, a great fighter.
That's what I want.
But are you looking to fight to be the king in New England and, put yourself out there with a last fight before maybe you get to the Contender Series or a UFC call-up?
I think it would be, I'm like, we're on that road, it feels like, because I'm like you've been here way too long kind of guy. I'm the guy that everyone's like, dude, you're still here? Why are you even still here? And suddenly now I'm like knocking off some of the guys that were like, oh, well, I'm maybe next to the contender. Like even Motino, who was like a legit prospect. And then with Jeff, who, I mean, he's got like Sidio Tong in his corner. I mean, it's like a phone call for those guys if they want to get on that show or in the UFC in some ways. So it's like to be knocking those guys off. I feel like, how many more? Is it Dennis? I don't want it to be Dennis, but is it him? Is Gravely in the UFC? Like,
yeah, he's signed. I think he's had one fight. So I think
whoever it is, I don't know who it is to become like the king, because there's so many fucking
There
kings,
are,
right? Like, there's so many great fighters that it's like just kind of a matter of time. I think, like, I just I've been thinking a lot about, fighting in the UFC and whatnot, and I just feel like at 33, I feel like I'm still getting better, and I feel like my mind is still getting sharper, and I just feel like now is the time. So it's more just like, who is it? Who am I fighting? Mm-hmm. Who out there thinks that they would beat me? Because we need to fight so that I can get to where I've kind of felt like I should be, but just never allowed myself to get there. I just feel like I have got to a point, maturity wise, that I'm ready to do it, and I just want to put these hands on as many humans as possible, build that highlight reel, and then just like spread martial arts in kind of my way, and just kind of leave a mark on what I think is like the best fucking sport in the entire world. And I want to be looked back at as a great coach and one of the best fighters that ever lived. And I honestly, really, truly believe I still got that. At 33, some people would be like, "Oh man, leave it to the 21-year-olds that are coming up." But I just, this is just what I'm meant to be doing. So super, super lucky. Awesome. Super lucky.
And you're doing it, man. We're under a year here.
Yes.
And, we got 2 months in the books with COVID-19 being, taking away some of that year. Yeah. The Motino fight, you had some issues with that you had to take care of. But, right. Johnny, in less than a year, because in June, where are we? May 15th, I think, today. Around June was when you fought Jose.
Yep.
4 finishes. And then you had the fight with Richie in between there.
Yep.
There's not much more you have to do. A fight against the top guy in New England would do it, or one of the belt holders there.
Yep.
Or, dude, man, it's there. It's there for the taking for you. I mean, you have options, and that option was Bellator, but now.
Yep. Everything happens for a reason.
There's a bunch of shit coming.
Yep.
So let's get to a little bit about your diet.
Yes.
A little bit, because I got a surprise for you.
Oh, all right. So, nice. I like surprise.
So, Cupcakes Campbell.
Yes.
Johnny the Carnivore Campbell.
Yeah.
Right? Also, you're a big meat eater. You talked about, your last few training camps. It's been just basically tearing flesh off the bone and stuff like that.
Ground
but you do have carbs, and that's a lot. But where are we right now as far as what you can eat and stuff like that?
I had some ice cream earlier.
All right, we're good. So Johnny, I bought you a special gift.
Man. That's awesome.
At the bakery near my house, an Italian bakery. So I got, I don't know how good the cupcakes there.
I'm sure they're fantastic.
There we go. You can see it right there. They're Italian bakery over there. So Johnny, you can have one now. You can take them home with you, share them with you.
Do you want one?
Girl, no, I'm all set. I had one. That's why there's only 3 in there.
I might.
I licked the rest. No, I'm only kidding. You can spray them with the alcohol spray there if you do that. Take them home with you. You're gonna eat them in the car on the way home, whatever. But I had to get cupcakes.
That's
for
fantastic.
Johnny.
That's a beautiful thing. Thank you. Let me just get. Thank you so much.
We always bearing gifts in the room podcast.
Thank you. That's amazing.
My man. So let's get a little fuck the diet. I was only trying to get to the diet to get to the fucking cupcakes. But you before all this happened, and we'll kind of almost get to the end here as far as, but you have a fight team or young lads and young people under your wing that you're bringing along in the fight game. A few of them I witnessed at Cage Titans.
Yep. Let's
talk about that and how you're keeping this group together, because maybe you'll start training with them now, but there's been a while that you guys haven't been able to roll or anything. Mm-hmm. How you been keeping them together and keeping the glue in between?
It's martial arts, not to be too lame or whatever, but martial arts really is the glue. So there's not I don't have to do too much as far as motivation or what have you. Everybody wants to get better and train so badly that it's kind of a natural progression where everyone is just moving forward. And I think that in some ways, I mean, some pieces might switch around. We might end up seeing not necessarily teams change or what have you, but I think that it's almost in some way bringing like certain people into other people's vicinity that maybe otherwise wouldn't have been there for some reason. I don't know why that's happening, but the universe is just funny, you know? It's just a funny
It
thing.
finds a way.
It does, exactly. And I just like attracts like, and yeah, I think that as with everything, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and I think that this is just like a little bit of a stubbed toe for humanity, and I think we're gonna move through this and be stronger for it. So that's kind of it, you know. I've been kind of doing just kind of doing myself, and then everything just kind of falls into place.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And, you know, as far as me with the COVID and everything, I've been working through it.
Yeah. How many hours?
I've been working 12 to 14 hours a day, every day.
Oh
I've had
my
one day off in 46 days. And that's they're not forcing me to do it. You know what I mean? But
God.
I have nothing else to do. You know what else am I going to do?
Make money,
you know,
yeah.
honestly out there, like I'm an essential worker. I have, you know, loved ones. I have a daughter. I have a son. He's older. He's in his 20s. He's doing he's working. He's
Himself.
essential also.
No shit.
But I have a 16-year-old daughter, and she lives out of state in Mass.
Okay.
So when they were talking about state lines and quarantine yourself if you go over state line, like that was starting to really affect me. Like like my way of life wasn't really changing except for missing MMA, missing like a lot of cards falling through that I can't go watch and fighters. Like, you know, I'm hanging out and talking to you guys about what's going on behind the scenes, but I want to be talking to you about what you did in the cage and stuff like that, and like what, you know. But it hit me when they were talking about state line. It never happened. I'd cross anyway, no matter. But it's like I have loved ones out there that I got to worry about because I'm with different people every day. And I've been on quarantine like for my girlfriend and stuff because she's got an older mom that, you know, I have to worry about other people, just not myself. So life hasn't really changed as far as my outlook of what I got to do, and but
which is good.
It's changed a little bit in the personal side as far as that people don't see, you know what I mean? And that's happened to a lot of people.
And that's sometimes like the toughest stuff to deal with psychologically, you know? Like when freaking, you know, somebody in jail is bad, they stick them in solitary confinement.
And that's
like,
why.
It's like the worst thing you can do to people is force them to be alone. So, it's crazy. So where are you sleeping?
I'm at
bedroom, house.
I got my own abode, and I'm here. Here's what I do. I go to work 12, 14 hours. I go home, take a shower.
Hopefully no parking tickets.
Sleep. No parking. There ain't a fucking meter maid in town. No, you crazy? They don't awesome. Care about me.
Nice.
But awesome. Go sleep about 6 hours. I definitely get at least 6 hours a night.
That's good.
Sometimes I get my 8, and I come here for a couple hours, get an interview in.
That's cool.
And I do my editing, my laptop at work, at lunch and shit like that.
Nice.
That's all I did before.
Anyway.
Before this happened, you know, I would see my girlfriend every so often. I'd go see my daughter on weekends.
Yep, which is good.
But, you know, the fights is what I'm missing. Yeah. So that's my next question.
Wicked bummer. But
what's your outlook as far as, I mean, you're with other fighters, you're in that ring there as far as knowledge and what people are saying behind the scenes. What's your outlook at what's going on, and when do you think honestly things might turn around in local fighting, even though might not be able to have fan attendance, will start going again? Maybe
streaming online, I guess, hopefully.
Flow Combat.
Yeah, right. I mean, the streaming services hopefully will be able to take on that traffic, and everybody will be able to get to see the fights. It's gonna be wacky. I mean, I know that I got offered a fight in Vermont where they're paying very little money because there will be no
Donnybrook.
I don't even know.
Right.
I'm not involved. I just hear things.
Yeah.
So, but there is
just to get in there and get a fight.
Yeah, whatever. That's my mindset. And they were talking about September and no fan attendance. So I mean, Polver is incredible at what he does, and he's very persistent, and he's incredibly smart. I have a feeling if anyone was going to have somebody at the lead like this for MMA, we're super lucky in Mass to have Mike.
Yeah.
And he has I know I spoke with him personally. He said he has a meeting with the commission coming in, I think, Tuesday. So they'll be paving the way for whatever's to come. And Mike is going to be relentless about it. He will get people in this cage. So he has I know that there's a Cage Titans August date has been on the calendar. So whether or not we're lucky enough to see guys in the cage on that day, I hope we are. But man, I hope that by summertime we have people in local cages again. I really do.
I think, August or
September, I guess.
We got to see what's
October.
going on. Here's, another question. Do you think there'll be some smoker or some kind of thing going on that
right Fight Club.
Only a select invited few might be able to attend?
That'd be cool.
It's gonna have to happen in some way.
I could be rented. I'll say that right now. I will rent myself to anyone. If there's a eccentric billionaire out there who loves fighting, I will come.
Could be an exhibition.
It needs to be legit though, right?
Oh, I know.
Like Kimbo sliced, but weight classes in some way.
Okay, yeah, exactly. You can't be fighting fucking,
a bear.
Yeah, exactly. Even though that'd be awesome.
That would be cool. A baby bear. A little cub. I would just get him down and tickle him, probably.
Awesome.
That's all.
Awesome. But I think something like that is going to happen. I throw little teasers out there, like who's going to be the first one for the smoke.
Right.
I think it's going to happen.
I think so.
And, I mean, I see people sparring on their front lawn now, like going live with little things.
Yep.
There's going to be some maniacs out there that say, let's just fucking go for it and have fucking
definitely
4 bouts, 5 bouts, 6 bouts
100%.
in our backyard with a bunch of fucking guys.
Backyard is pretty good size.
Yeah,
I mean, he has volleyball games, so we could probably put the cage up right there. I think so.
Some stream from somebody we don't know.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
Definitely.
I'll be there.
Same. Right. Let's go.
So, my God. So, we've covered pretty much everything. Any questions? We got a lot of people just looking. Anything you want to ask me, Johnny, or anything you want to talk about or get out there about the team or anything? Anything.
I don't know. What are your thoughts? What do you think as far as? I feel like you have your ear to the ground pretty well as far as like states and whatnot. Like, do you think it's realistic that we see fights in August with the way things are going?
Well, we know about how our commissions are a little fucked up as it is. And we have a big friggin' stick like this thrown us. But I think, people like Mike Polvere, who are very intelligent, and other promotions like NEF and CES, who this is their lifeline. Like CES, I mean,
true. Putting on shows.
Boxing, everything. They're a big entity as far as a moneymaker and, getting the sport out there. I think people are going to come together and get something rolling. Yes. I'm not sure it's going to be in August. The NEF in September, I like.
Yeah.
I like anything in August also, but
same.
These smart people are going to get something going. I mean, and I think this is when it's a new era. People need to start working together to get this
figured out
project and this world, this MMA world going again.
Yep. I mean, the UFC is doing it. That's for sure. I mean, no other pro sports right now. I don't think. Maybe NASCAR. I heard was there racing.
I think there's something, or I don't know. I think there was some kind of race.
Everything to be canceled, and the UFC now putting on 3 events in a week.
Yeah,
that is just magnificent. So hopefully that's a sign, a good sign. I mean, they obviously can do huge shows with no attendance, but hopefully there's hope.
And the more it goes on, the more they're saying it started off groups of 10, groups of 250, groups of blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
It could go back up that way, and by the time August or September, you have a
full fight.
Try to plan fights outside, but I'm not optimistic that it's going to come back.
Outdoor cards. That sounds
something could happen. People are going to be thinking out of the box.
Yep, true. Fight festival.
Somebody's going to do something.
Definitely.
And I'm going to be a part of it, and I'm going to support it as much as I can.
Yes. Same.
Awesome. So we've gone almost an hour, man. Oh, here's a thing I want to ask you, Johnny.
Oh, all right.
Because I want to just announce, but we'll make a bigger announcement down the line. I'm going to be doing some writing for 24/7 Inc. Mag, the biggest online magazine, tattoo magazine out there. So they asked me to do a couple of. Yes, nice. I was actually in one of the.
That's fantastic.
I forgot what issue it was, but it was last year sometime. I think it was last. I don't know. I'm one beer in the joint, so I'm already fucking lost. So they want me to. They're asking for me to write a couple of articles because the issue comes out every 2 months. A couple of articles.
Very cool.
Maybe a couple of video segments of things with fighters in New England, but they're tattoo based. But everything doesn't have to be tattoo based. If it's a great story, they want it on there. It'd be nice if you have a tattoo also that we can talk about.
Goes with
so theme. Johnny, any tattoos? Do you have any work ink done?
Because a little.
I've been talking to a few fighters with some ink done.
I bet. Yeah,
so I'm not that I want you to strip or anything, but we can. We can look at what you got.
I only have a couple, so that's I got this one here, which is a breast cancer ribbon. It's kind of light. It's like pink and tattered, and it's got my mom's initials on it. So she battled breast cancer more than a couple times, and beat it, and still with us today.
Oh, great,
so
great.
She's super inspirational person for me, and so I got that for her, and it's been with me for quite a while, and. I hope
is that the first tattoo?
That was the second one. So my first one was on my back, which was a selfish piece with my name and flags and whatnot. But so when I got something else, I wanted to get something a little bit more like, I don't know, meaningless or what have you. So I hope to add somewhat to the collection.
Something
more
about fighting, or is it it's more about personal?
Yeah, I guess
life.
it'll probably be more like symbolic things at this point, like moving forward with any kind of tattoos. But I'm super proud of this, and it's a very good work. The fellow who worked on it did a fantastic job. So
who knew I would get a story like that? That's right. Like I didn't even know he had a tattoo. I mean, because I see you at weigh-ins and there's like you don't have no Conor McGregor, fucking gorilla like on you, shit like.
And I'm pink, so it's just like it just blends in.
Well, I'm more interested in like I'm watching like the big stand down or what Johnny's gonna say up there on the mic. I'm not looking for tats on him, but that's a great one.
Fruity ribbon. No, it's good. It's good.
Well, goes along with cupcakes.
Exactly.
Well,
right?
Couldn't be better. Maybe you would. Were you designing or you designed a shirt? Did you have a shirt coming out?
Yeah, so I still haven't like officially dropped it because everything that's been going on. But so I got probably the queerest shirt that I've made thus far, and I'm excited to bring it in. I even had like a walkout banner made. It doesn't say Bellator on it or anything, so luckily I'll be able to hopefully use it in the future. But I actually had like replicas made up of the walkout banner, so like I have these like replica walkout banners that are pretty badass, and I think some people might be interested in buying as well. And it like goes along with the shirt motif that's very like summery and whatnot. So got some new merch.
That could be for the UFC. They don't. Do they let you show your banners? Yeah, they let you show your banners right at the UFC. They let you throw them out.
Potentially,
but. You could have it for that number one for that belt fight.
Exactly.
In,
whatever it is.
In New England.
Yes. So. Whatever it is, just ASAP.
Awesome, my guy. Well, Johnny, I think we covered pretty much tonight.
We killed it.
Yeah, great shit, man. I'm so fucking happy that you came down here.
Seriously.
I know you traveled a long ways to get here.
I like driving. It's good.
Yeah, driving. I
therapeutic.
Like it. Yes, it is.
It's like meditation.
Like what I do. Like I'll sit in my driveway in my car. Pizza. I love my car. Like I don't have to be. I can sit in my car. I do that at work. Awesome. I go and sit in my car. It's like I just like it. I like that.
It's nice.
You know what I mean? So Johnny, any shout outs? Anything you'd like to say before I let you go and be on your way, man?
I'm just huge shout outs to everybody that I'm working with. I feel like so many different people in and out of my life helping me get better at this stuff, so it's hard to name everyone, but the key is South Shore Sport Fighting and Cage Titans family, who's just brought me up really as a fighter. So I grew up in the Cage Titans cage. So I got to say thank you to them, and thank you to you, Steve, as well. I love being here. This is such a cool platform.
Anytime, man. You want to bring training partners down here? You want to bring, want to come hang down here with anyone, man?
I almost brought the German Shepherd, but
you could have brought him.
He's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, yeah. You want to eat my cords or whatever? Yeah, it would be fucking. Well, maybe. Next time bring your girl or so she can take care of him. But all is welcome here.
Thank you.
When I have the other cameras in, when I'm going to be putting, so I can probably fit like 6 people or whatever. Even though, I've had about 6. I've had Jorgen De Castro in here with his whole team.
Yeah.
So we can get it done, man. But I appreciate you coming down, man. Anytime.
Thank you.
Come on down, man. You want to, be my co-host, and we'll.
Anytime.
Interview someone here or whatever.
That'd be awesome.
Down the line we're gonna be doing also like we did your 3rd round.
Yeah. Very cool.
We're gonna be doing them, bringing fighters in and watching their fights together.
Stuff.
Yeah,
awesome.
Getting their insight, what was going on between rounds, what's going.
So cool.
People don't get that. So
no, not enough.
And then you had a video yourself out that you did the Chris Motino.
Yep.
So before before I let you go, you didn't. Because do you have a YouTube channel and all that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's Johnny Cupcakes Campbell. I'm pretty sure.
So you're kind of... Are you a gamer? Because you did a kind of cool video where you talked through your fight with Chris and what you were thinking there.
Kind of like what you're doing.
Yeah, what we did there. But it was pretty
OBS
cool, man.
And just kind of like video myself watching the fight.
Yeah.
So you get to watch me watch it and then also watch yourself, and I kind of give a little bit of insight and stuff, and it's just a way to create a little bit of content and whatnot. So and that was a pretty awesome fight too. So
it was a fucking great fight.
I actually did one for Jeff Perez too that I have to kind of post up. But
let me know. I'll post it to our group page.
It's just long. It's like a 20-minute.
Yeah, it's all right, man. We'll post it there.
Draggy, but yes,
that's what the group page is for.
True. All
like
right.
that, man.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Well,
cool. There you go. Great podcast tonight. My first one actually with
the new setup.
With the kind of new setup. I had Brian Rossi in there who built it.
Beautiful, by the way. I don't know if he's watching or anything, but
yeah, Brian did a great job. He's actually will build computers for anyone who needs it.
Yeah, dude.
He loves doing it, and I got a couple more things coming in, like that switchboard you were talking about.
Okay,
I gotta learn that but
it'll be easy.
Yeah, then I can just press buttons, camera angles.
The fun thing with like that, it's like learning is so fun when it's something
I feel
you like.
I'm in a spaceship.
Yeah, no
when
joke.
I told Brian Rossi I have the drums here.
Yeah.
When I play drums in the band, it feels like you're in your world, like you're like you're in a. You're controlling your little spaceship, and that's what I feel like right here. I got buttons, I touch it, I can make a dildo come flying across the.
No, you cannot.
Yes, I fucking can.
Get out of here,
dude! I'm gonna have Star Wars dildos coming right at people.
Dildos in our episode.
All right,
this could not be a dildoless episode.
Fucking A, man! Great show, Johnny, man.
Thank you, Steve.
We'll keep in touch. Down the line, I'll Skype you in, and we'll talk about. When something breaks and we can talk about actual fighting and
getting in that cage.
So there you go, Johnny Cupcakes Campbell, man, doing it. Big year for Johnny, and we're in 2020, and the year is, it's kind of shaky, but I'm sure we're gonna end on a high note, man. So from the Rude Podcast, this show will be on YouTube tomorrow. Will be on iTunes and everything else tomorrow. So if you don't have, you gotta have Facebook if you're watching this. But if you have friends and family and Johnny, they don't have Facebook, this will all be available on our website tomorrow, newenglandmma.org. Follow us. We have the June rankings happening right now. The fan vote is happening right now, which means you log on to newenglandmma.org. You have to join, then you can vote for the rankings. And then we'll have the media vote and the panel vote of media people that will be added into a formula.
Nice.
And then in June we will announce who is top dog 1 through 10 in every division from amateur to pro.
Wow. Extensive.
Yes, it's a big endeavor, and Lars Borenson and Travis Lazat on my team.
I see them already on there
they're fucking crazy. Lars just put out a new write-up today. Scrap to the Future, where he broke down an amateur title fight at Combat Zone where he judged. And he has a judging
Very
perspective of the fight and what he felt there.
That's cool.
And he actually reached out to them and got their take on what they were doing.
All right.
Johnny, we're doing
Dude,
it, man.
that sounds very
We're
interesting.
doing it. So, New England MMA.org is doing big things. We're on Facebook. We have a group page. We also have a business page. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. And we're on, wherever you can find us. So we're trying, Johnny.
Plugged in.
We're trying to do it.
Love it.
We have a team. So with that said, Johnny Campbell, thank you so much for coming on
Thank you.
The Room Podcast. Be the fuck out of here.